Welcome to the channel. This is going to be a message from your spirit, your guides. When I do readings like this, I feel that it's not my guides or, whatever bringing through the message. If it's for you, it's your guides. So this will not be for all of you, but you might feel like you can take something away from this. So you might want to watch. And if not, check out one of my playlists. I have a bunch of them. You might find your message there. Sorry about the lighting. A low budget production. I'm still trying to, I'll always be trying to get my caca together. So if you don't resonate with this reading, check out one of my playlists. A thumbnail or title might resonate. Could be your reading. They're timeless. You find them when you're meant to. Alright, but let's see who this is for. And I will try very much so to put something specific in the title, so you're not like watching a reading that is not yours. If you want a personal reading, send me an email. Info's in my description. Alright, buzz me in, please. I want to buzz through the blinds of the energy who might need this message. What message is here for them? Show us what we need to see. Who's this for? Alright, I see a Hierophant on the bottom. I see a Hierophant on the bottom. What's here's? Ten of Swords. The word on this card is closure. Alright, this is the Six of Cups. Nostalgia. This is memories. This has to do with your past. Fool. The Fool. We have a Fool. Sometimes this is Aries energy. I usually don't say that, so I don't know. This might be for someone that has a fiery energy to them overall, or has Aries heavy in their chart. Alright. Completion. Ten of Wands. I usually call the Ten of Wands for me. It's kind of like the burden we carry. Alright. So this is the Two of Swords. Decision. This Two of Swords is a person that is blindfolded. They're closing off their heart. There's something within they don't want to face. This is very straightforward. There's something that you need closure about. It's something to do with the past. When I see this Fool, I'll clarify this Fool. I feel like for some of you, this has to do with a specific person that like affected your past. This is a memory that it burdens you. You don't want to really face it, or you don't know how to face it. Okay? You can't get closure. You feel like you can't get closure from this experience or situation or person. Whether they might not be here, okay, in this earth anymore, or it could be just, there's no real closure from the energy themselves. It could have changed how you looked at the higher power. This experience for some of you was so intense and painful that it was the seed that planted other decisions you made along the way that added to, it was like the first big wand that you started to carry on your back, that if you feel like if you did not experience this, you wouldn't maybe have gone down the path you went down, and experienced other things. That it's like the Fool energy in this card. Sometimes I feel like this energy it's representing is feeling like either they were forced to be more mature at a younger age than they should have been, okay? I'm gonna I'll leave this here. There could have been a feeling of rejection, or whatever this experience was could have like been the seed that made you feel like you pushed away people maybe that were good for you, or that you didn't feel like you could fully embrace love, some of you. Alright. Show me why this Fool is here. What does my person watching need to know? What is this representing for them? Discernment. Alright, so like, we need to look at this in a logical way, some of you. You need to like be more, you know, alright, show me more about this. This is a King of Sword. Why is this here? I don't know if this experience is saying, like, made you too closed off, or... Alright, this is the Six of Coins. On this card, it talks about generosity. This is someone sometimes that I say, needs help, or doesn't get sometimes in a relationship, like the give and take. They give more than they get back, or vice versa. Seven of Coin. This is what I usually call the investment. The Hanged Man. Pisces energy. Feeling like a puppet in this card. Being pulled by strings. I see the star on the bottom. There's healing that needs to be done. Trust in yourself. That, like, this energy, there's like a spark, okay, within you. I feel like you feel like hopeless, helpless, alone in the darkness of these things you're holding on to. Of this, there's something about being forced or feeling like either you didn't feel like you had a childhood, or, like we said before, having to deal with experiences that were too adult, you know, for your age, to be forced to... This energy doesn't want to know all these things, like in this card. Alright, so for some of you, this King of Sword is a person in your life that might be guiding you, alright? That you might be closed off to. For some, this is not for all of you. But this, for some of you, a small few, is an actual person. They could be an air sign. They don't have to be. But what it would say to me is that it's someone... Sometimes when I see a King of Sword, they make me feel certain things. But in this deck, this energy, I don't see them as cold. I see them as someone that can look at things from a different perspective, like this Hangman energy should be. Okay? When the Hangman... the Hangman is about being and feeling uncomfortable. What I usually describe as emotionally, spiritually, mentally, and physically uncomfortable. Like, we can't control these strings that are pulling us. We feel pulled in all sorts of different directions. But ultimately, the Hangman puts themselves in this uncomfortable position. There should be, or there's a hope to become aware at some point when you are in this energy that you're keeping yourself here, kind of like that Two of Swords. The Two of Swords energy chooses not to take off the blindfold and see what is clearly in front of them because they're not ready to face it or speak about it or share it, all right? Not just with others, but with their own self, okay? So this hangman, though, knows that they are in a position that is uncomfortable for them. There's an awareness for the hangman that is not present in the Two of Swords. Usually when we see the hangman in reverse, it's signifying that this energy has come out of the uncomfortable place. They have taken the blindfold off and learned from, they've realized that being uncomfortable was for a purpose and that they've learned from it and now they're enlightened because of it. It's an investment in one's self. Some of you might have been fighting, literally getting some sort of outside help, okay? Because you've been, and I feel for many of you, forced to be wise, and deal with adult situations before you were really like you should have. Your journey is your journey, and what you've been through, it's meant to be, or else it wouldn't have been. Okay. We all have free will, and things could have been different, but they're not. There needs to be a level of acceptance for what cannot be changed, for what has already occurred, for what is already done. We only have right now, you know? All right. I feel like a lot of you, this experience, however you resonate, changed the way you felt about the higher power or your personal relationship with the higher power, or the way you viewed others in a like, you may have had, for some of you, a not great experience in either a church type like upbringing or just feeling restricted by religion overall for some of you, whether that's from just in general, like other people around you, or like family. So I feel like here in the Star card, and this is Aquarius energy, the Star card is about having also a connection with the celestial. Alright, so you could be, I feel like alright, so if you resonate with like the star seed energy, I'm sorry, I got very distracted because Tempe's on the side of me on the... There's like a shelf on this desk and he's sitting on it like being... He gets like... You know when they get all like they want to... Yeah, he wants me to rub his head and he's being silly. Alright, I apologize, you guys. Tempe... He's named after Temperance, one of my subs. When I got him, I said, what should I name the cat? And she made a great suggestion and said, name him after one of the cards, like Emperor or Chariot, you know, I thought Justice. Anyway, I ended up picking Temperance because I thought, like, I feel like the name influences their personalities, or I'll name them because of their personality, right? So I named him Temperance, but, like, he truly is... Like, he can be super calm, but then when he's, like, in a mood. Okay, so he's got that Sag energy, fiery energy. All right, enough about my cat. I feel like for some of you, this feeling of being left behind, feeling like, when is the healing going to happen for me? Okay? You... Seeing this underneath it. Like, you want fulfillment. You might be putting too much, it starts with you, this love. This is the Ace of Cups, okay? you might need to relearn what it means to love yourself, what self-love is. A lot of us think like we understand what that means, but I think some of us don't. You might have to relearn what this means, or just like begin a new relationship with yourself. Have a new vision of what coming to peace within means. If this person, I'm sorry, I kind of went off, because right, I said for some of you this represents an actual person. It might be someone that you viewed in the past as being cold, okay? But this to me, if you're resonating, it doesn't have to be an actual male energy, but I feel like these are kings. So it's representing, to me, a masculine energy, regardless of what's going on beneath, physically. And this person, this is part of their personality. They're diplomatic. They have, they see things very, that like, there's not just black and white to things. I feel like this energy can see a gray area. For some of you, this could represent a person that could help. They may have invited you to something that, I connect this, sometimes to a literal church, but I usually say, if you don't, go to church in that respect or interested in that, it could represent whatever I usually describe brings you peace. So like this person could have invited you to go bird watching or bake with them or, something like that if it represents an actual person. If it's not talking about that for some of you, this is saying that you don't have to be physically old. I don't care how old you are. But I feel that if you're resonating with what I'm about to say, that because of this experience and a feeling of, or either because of all the things here we said, like there's no closure. You don't feel like you will ever get closure in this experience or from this energy if it was with a person or a group of people, whatever it represents. The memories, all right? It's like, and like I said here, it's almost things that I feel for many of you are things that you maybe never spoke about. I just heard this. For some of you, you need to be open to talk therapy, all right? This could represent that type of energy for me if you didn't resonate with what I said before. But I feel like regardless of your age, you've closed off a certain amount of yourself throughout since this experience, all right? And you just feel worn down, all right? And I do feel like for many of you, you did have to create some sort of protective version, a version of yourself to protect yourself because of this experience. But it's not serving you anymore. You're on a new part of your journey. All right. Now, ultimately, happiness is something we decide to be. Okay. In this energy, I'm feeling it needs to be said. There has to be a new way of looking at things. I feel like, look, you might feel sometimes like happiness in itself is a fantasy, or the only time you feel a little spark within is like maybe reading fantasy books. Or like, that in general, like you did try in the past perhaps, and you feel like, the fulfillment, where was it? You may have put a lot of your energy and time into a person, a love, okay? But if you're here and you're resonating so far, then I feel that this message that you're meant to get, or the thing that you have to start small, you have to start somewhere, and this small spark within, okay? You have to believe a little. You have to start by believing in yourself, and you have to start by looking at things a different way. And perhaps this could also say to me that a lot of you, because you might feel like you know everything. Not all of you. And I don't mean that in like an obnoxious way. But you just might not realize that there is another way. Okay? Because you've been, for some of you, in order to survive up to this point, okay? Looked at things and learned to protect yourself, how you were in your past relationships, whether they were love relationships, work relationships, family, with children, however that resonates. A little set in our ways, all right? So this starts with understanding that we have free will to cut ourselves loose from these strings that we feel are connecting and keeping us bound to, like, these memories that we, like, it starts by looking at this thing from the past itself in a different way, okay? I mean, you're still here. Like, there's still lessons for you to learn. I think this starts with your relationship with yourself first, and then with the higher power. And I think from there, you'll feel like you're coming full circle again into this Fool energy. I feel like you'll be... See, I think you want to escape what you feel is... It might be also that... Okay, I feel for some of you, I'm feeling like heavy, depressed energy. And like no matter what... Like, I just said all this stuff, and I feel like whoever's resonating yelled at me. Like, I've tried to heal. I've tried something different. I've done all these things you say. Woman, what do you want? You know? So if you're resonating and you were, like, you know, kind of like yelling at me, like, how am I supposed to celebrate and find this new... Tell me, person. There is no escape, okay? We can't escape the pain. When we cannot escape the pain, and it is that heavy, okay, we have to find a way to release it. So for some, it's actually creating. For some, you're never going to be able to fully cut those strings that were in the hangman energy. You're always going to feel some sort of thread connecting you to that, because this experience, whatever it is for you, actually shaped you into whoever you've become, or like shaped the relationships you had in the future and to this day. Right. Okay? So when we can't escape, we have to create. We have to turn it into something. We have to make, like, this tower is spools of thread. All right? Everything that we have been through, okay, has shaped you and us into the person that we are. We have to decide to let the old self sometimes metaphorically die. This High Priestess, this is the energy that has faith, okay? She has faith. I feel like this is for a person who may have, like, has lost their faith. Tempe, would you please stop? He keeps, like, clawing the back of my... He loves clawing my tapestries on my wall. There's... Alright. Collaboration. Look, this is not for all of you. Some of you need to have some alone time. Okay? And I'm seeing this energy again. And under them is the Hangman. So if you resonated with what I said, not all of you are gonna or did, but if you did, there's something to this. Alright? I feel like whoever you are collaborating with all right, currently, not for all of you. They could be, if they're either a Capricorn energy or you are bound to someone that is like toxic. Some of you are bound to someone that reminds you, or in some subconscious way is connecting you to this thing in the past. Not all of you will resonate with that, but those who do, that was your clarification. All right. There's a certain truth that you have to face. Something that I just saw, like the Wheel of Fortune and a Page of Swords, and it said truth. For some of you, this has to do with the father energy, because I just saw the Emperor. Those of you who recognize, though, this energy, all right, be honest with yourself. I don't know if you're trying to help them, all right? Some of you, this is saying you should be doing some sort of, like, prayer work. If you don't pray, what are you doing, all right? I don't care what or who you pray to. You need to pray. Pray, all right, like, I remember having friends that would make fun of, like, people that, like, prayed to, like, a specific god. Like, to it in a church, you know, or something. And I remember I said to them, like, why are you laughing or think that's funny? And they would say to me, oh, like you're praying to some invisible man in the sky, or whatever, how they would word it, right? And I said, what do you think of, like, chanting, you know? And they were like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, well, what's the difference? And they were like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what do you mean? That it's intent, chanting, prayer. Like, you need to start with that. Maybe you should do chanting if you're not into prayer, or flame meditation, light a candle, just stare at it. There's something, maybe that star card too was telling me that you need to start with some sort of flame meditation. If you feel overwhelmed, like these spools, like this tower might be representing all the different things you've been through. Like we spoke of to begin with, that one thread that started, you know, and put you down this path, right? So this tower can represent how things come out of nowhere. And I used to say, like, look, we can't control, much like the wheel of life, when it's spinning and turning and things happen outside of our control. But we have to control ourselves. Now, I do feel that the person resonating with us has felt that because of everything we said here earlier. You were there, I said it. I don't want to continuously repeat myself. Like, you've already had to be and act and live more maturely, or take more responsibility on, than I feel you ever should have ever had to experience. I feel it. But in the chaos of everything, all right, ultimately, you might feel like you're being held together by a thread constantly, okay, for those of you that this, but you're standing here in this tower. Like, this tower holds the opportunity to take each one of these threads and sew them together into something that can mend the wounds of the past, okay? This tower is different than, like, any, you know, the other tower cards in my other deck. But you have to have, I think some of you have been scared to fully let go. Part of being reborn is letting go, actually cutting free, making the choice to cut free the thread that attaches us to, you know, how this all started, all right? For some of you, it feels difficult or impossible because some of you are still in this moment, like you've never really gotten out of it. Some of you, this happened when you were young, and like you are older physically and still holding on to this. So much so that it has become ingrained and part of you. Now, these things will always be part of us, but it doesn't mean they have to own us, okay? It might feel impossible sometimes or at this moment, but the conflict is with our own self and how we see things and our ability to have fresh eyes no matter how long this thing has been part of us, okay? All these moments are imprinted on us. Some of you might feel like you want to have a sense of stability, mentally, emotionally. I do feel like candle meditation might be the beginning for you to, for some of you, to help manifest, okay? And it might help inspire you, all right? Just breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, like 1 to 3 minutes at night or whenever you're feeling overwhelmed. If you're a person that's very anxious and physically, you know, you have a lot of physical energy, when you're mentally overwhelmed with thoughts, sometimes doing the tree pose in yoga, the tree pose, or any sort of physical pose that causes your balance, for you to regain your balance. In yoga, as far as I was taught or how I learned, it's more about the breathing, because the breathing, the controlled breathing, when you do that, it affects your blood flow, which overall affects your body and your brain and your overall physical well-being and self, and just over time will make you more calm, make your thoughts more calm, okay? No matter how, it will. It's just, it's what it is. I'm no scientist or doctor. I'm just telling you from what I've experienced. And don't do anything that, sorry I shook you. Don't do anything that, like try to do a tree pose or any sort of pose where to gain your balance. If you have issues of any kind, consult your doctor. Don't come and say that, you know, I'm the reason you broke something. But part of it has to do with when we're mentally overstimulated, when we regain our balance. It helps it forces your mind to focus on the physical, to rebalance, you know, your body, and just help center your mind. It might feel, part of you has to be like patient, okay? This Fool energy, that could be saying that for me, that you need to hear too for some of you, that you haven't been patient enough. Some of you have tried new things, but you didn't really put 100% into it. And then you became discouraged, okay? Like, you have to commit to the magic, all right? If you don't see these things as something, like, to me, breathing techniques are magic, all right? Not everyone sees it that way. But when you do, you'd be surprised how the way we see things changes how they make us feel. And what else did I want to say about, oh, right, for yoga. For me, it's more about, like what I just said with the breathing, because how it affects the blood flow. For me, yoga isn't about, like, standing on your head or, you know, getting, like, doing splits and being super flexible, although it will help with that if that's, you know, it comes hand in hand. It's ultimately about controlled breathing, all right? And even doing it like 1 minute a day, it will change and slow down your mind if you give it a chance. And it is a stepping stone, and like I also highly suggest the flame. Like, you light a candle, of course, be safe, and you stare at the candle, and you breathe in through the nose. I like to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and you should do whatever's comfortable for you. Just doing that 1 to 3 minutes a day is going to put you in a place where that you can see things a little differently, all right? But we have to commit. This fool might be impatient if you're resonating with this, like I said. You may feel like you've done this all before, or I've already done this, and I've done this all before, but I don't know, have you? And if you have, okay, there are other things to do that can help put you in towards this path where you will you ultimately have to have some sort of metaphorical death of the old self, okay? I feel like some of the things I mentioned here are little things you can start. You have to start small. For some of you, you need to embrace the full energy, like to allow yourself to be naive, to look at things like, you know what? I don't know about this. Let me be open. Let me come into this with fresh eyes, like I've never looked at it before, okay? Not like, I'm too old for this. This is silly, okay? Because not for, you know, that's not for all of you. Some of you need to hear that. Some of you are scared and you haven't realized it till right now. All right? You feel like for some of you, healing is accepting and changing. All right? And then metaphorically leaving the old self. And some of you may have not been ready to do that fully up until now. All right? And if you are resonating with this, like, that deeply, let me know in the comments. Maybe we'll do a live with energies that resonate in this way. And we can talk about, you know, we can get it, pour it out. Sometimes talking about things helps with other people that also understand or resonate or are open to understanding. You know, so I always say, when we heal ourselves, we heal each other, right? All right, guys, I'm going to end this because this went really long. I feel this is very specific, obviously not for all of you. But if it was for you, like, you're not forgotten. Your ancestors and your guardians and our like the higher powers are surrounding you. They always have been, even when you don't feel like it. And if you don't feel like that now, there is a reason why. And if you made it to the end of this, there's a reason why. Okay? And if you're resonating that deeply, then welcome to finding a new way to see the path ahead. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you next time.